Cornwall traveled to Metro Toronto in Week 5 OVFL action, creating a battle of the Wildcats as both feline football clubs sat at 2-2 heading into the weekend. Metro looking to fly high at home for the first time this year as they are winless at Esther Schreiner Stadium in 2014. Right from kickoff, the Metro Wildcat defense came out hungry when Fernando Fuller sacked Cornwall quarterback Alex Douglas. Metro would begin the game with a smooth completion from Greg Dossett to Quinn Charles, but the ground game did not have the same success. On repeated plays, the Cornwall D-line created a corn wall, which the Wildcats seemed unable to break through. Sam Dugas continued his strong 2014 campaign, busting out from a loss for the 11-yard gain. When Douglas went to the air, defensive standout J.J. Perpall was there to fly in and nearly intercept the pass, and Perpall was complimented all afternoon by the hard-hitting Fernando Fuller as he laid the wood to Dugas. When Douglas could escape the Toronto Tabbies, he showed his cat-like reflexes while dodging several Metro defenders on his way to a 12-yard gain. Douglas' fancy feast footwork would complement his arm on the next play while throwing a strike to Maxime Amand, but the scorer was called back on a holding penalty. The Corn Cats would settle for a Douglas three-pointer instead, 3-0 after 1 quarter of play. Early in the second quarter, Michael Cogan would make a great play on the Dossett offering, getting his offense the ball back, which would allow Douglas to take a deep shot, which he would barely miss on. Douglas would instead attempt a long field goal, hooking it wide left, still 3-zip Cornwall. The Metro Fire starter Charles caught a crosser for the largest gain thus far for Toronto, with great blocking from his teammates. Dossett continued to stretch the field on the next play, but Reeve Nicholson made a fantastic play on the ball, shutting down the Metro offense and forcing a punt. When Metro got the ball back, Charles calmly collected the bouncing ball and headed south on the 427 towards the field return, with several crushing blocks set up. Only problem is, those blocks were from behind, and the return would be called back. It looks pretty, but it's not allowed in Uncle Jerry's eyes. Hey, get back here! Bring it. Backed up, Dossett went to the air and was intercepted by Joel Cloutier for the pick six as a pack of Wildcats escorted Cloutier to pay dirt for a Cornwall 10-0 lead. On the next Metro possession, after a 3-and-out, the Wildcats would fake a punt which did not get the required yardage.
Play ball!
Douglas would need only one of his fresh set of downs to find Patrick Giroux on a seam route, leading to an inspired chest bump and a 17-0 lead Cornwall at the half. Metro began the second half with a powerful balancing act by Brad Innes. On the next play, Dossett showed his athleticism, and Charles proved he is more than a pass catcher by turning back to crush the larger Cornwall defender, springing his QB for the 7-yard pickup. The drive would result in no Metro points, however, as the wall of corn reappeared to confuse Metro linemen and backs. Cornwall with the ball on 1st and 10 when Douglas is sacked by Fuller. On 2nd down, Douglas completes to Amand, who attempts to get the first down using some sort of force field. Despite his superhero powers, Amand could not get the first down, but Charles would botch the Cornwall punt, giving the Redmen excellent field position and a 17-0 lead after 3. With the field position, Dugas took the counter handoff for the touchdown, 24-0 for Cornwall in a dominant performance. On the ensuing kickoff, Douglas showed he is enjoying the 2014 World Cup by banking the kick off the back of the unsuspecting Metro special teamer, recovering the ball himself and adding to Metro's frustrating afternoon in all 3 phases. Then the Cornwall pivot takes a 5-step drop, reads the paper, makes lunch, finally takes down those pesky Christmas lights, paints the deck and picks up the wife from work before going for a leisurely jaunt through suburbia for the first down. After a penalty, Cornwall would punt, but Tyler Citino decided to field the ball at the 2-yard line. Dossett would give Metro some breathing room to begin the drive, but the rest of this possession was the Quinn Charles show. The high-flying receiver made not 1 but 2 incredible catches on back-to-back plays, showing that the Metro Toronto Wildcats have no quit in them. Charles would finish the afternoon with 5 catches for 95 yards and 5 first downs. Charles' playmaking ability would rub off on his teammates when Dossett threw to the end zone and... never mind. But on the next play, Dossett would find Brenton Hall for the major, and the Metro Cats would get the 2-point conversion to make the Tabby tumble a 2-score game with just under 5 minutes to go. After an unsuccessful onside kick, the Metro defense would step up big time by shutting down the Cornwall time-killing play calls. With obvious reminders to take to the air all around, the Cornwall Cats would stay on the ground, which is exactly where several Metro Cats would be waiting to pounce. Still down 16, Metro would send the house and get to Giroux to block the punt. A mad scramble ensued, and eventually number 54 Floyd Fuller would recover for the Metro TD. The 2-point was no good, 24-14 Cornwall. After a penalty on the 2-point conversion, Metro would be backed up in their own end for the kickoff. With almost the entire field left empty, they would still attempt an onside kick, which Cornwall safely recovered for fantastic field position. And the Corn Cats would finish the job, punching it in from 3 yards out for a 31-14 lead. And that would be your final. Cornwall Wildcats 31, Metro Wildcats 14. Cornwall head coach Kirby Camplin on his offensive playmaker, Alex Douglas.
He's a 17-year-old first-year player. He's doing a great job for us. Obviously, he gives us another weapon with his legs. He can certainly get first downs with his legs. He's a new guy. He's learning how to make his reads and is going through his progressions. But he's our future for sure. He'll be with us for the next couple of years, so we're excited. You know what? It's a good football team. They play hard. They come at you, and we you know what? We just did a good job on defense. So.
Metro Toronto head coach Russ Hoff on Metro's tough afternoon.
This is a tough one. We really were hoping to be able to come out of this with a victory. We are, we're trying to fight through some adversity on our bench with some injuries and some guys missing for various commitments. So we really have to hang our hat on the positive things we can take out of today. In terms of the second half, that's kind of been the way we played all season. We're really going to spend a lot of time this week focusing on how we can play a full game of football. Because, we know we can move the ball, we know we can score on teams. We have to do it for a full 4 quarters. If we're going to play only a half of a game, it's going to be very tough to win in this league.
Coach Hoff knows there is a playoff logjam ahead for the Metro Cats, and they need to find success now to avoid being left out of the dance.
This is a big game. There's a number of teams in our conference that we're at 2-2 coming into this weekend. So now we're on the bad side of that. We've got to step up and try to win a number of games here. We got 3 games left. We feel we can compete with every team in the league. So we're not looking at necessarily who we can beat, but just playing our best game of the season. And if we can do that, I feel we have the talent and we have the ability to compete with anyone we will see.
With Metro headed to Markham next week and Cornwall facing Oshawa, both coaches know their teams need to prove themselves in Week 6.
So, you know what? They're a good football team, but so are we. So we feel confident going in that we can do a good job against them. But obviously, anybody can win at any game in this league.
I think both teams have a lot of work to do. And right now we've got to prove that we can beat teams. I don't think we can take anyone lightly, and I'm sure that the Markham Raiders are going to be coming out firing, trying to knock us off.
If you enjoyed this video, like Canadian football, or are stuck at home on the Canada Day long weekend taking care of your sister's cat that she left for you while she ran away to cottage country unannounced, be sure to follow at OVFL_live on Twitter and Facebook, or subscribe to OVFL Live on YouTube for our weekly radio show podcasts. For OVFL Live, I'm Marshall Ferguson.